A horse crashes into a post yard near Sardis before dawn. Foam runs from its bit. The rider does not stop to eat or sleep. He pulls a sealed note from his coat, gives it to the next man, and points east. A fresh horse bursts through the gate. Far away in Susa, a king is waiting. If the note comes late, a tax revolt may spread. A satrap may raise troops. A border town may change sides. If it comes fast, the king can move first. I'm Simon, and this is the Persian royal road, the vast chain of roads, posts, guards, scribes, and fresh horses that let Darius rule at the speed of fear. When Darius took the throne, the empire was huge, rich, and close to revolt. Men claimed the crown. Lands rose against him. Local chiefs watched to see if the new king would fail. Egypt, Babylon, Media, and lands far to the east could not be held by a voice from one hall. Darius won his wars. Then he faced the structural weakness no blade could repair. The map was almost ungovernable. Ancient routes already crossed the realm. Assyrian kings had laid paths in the west. Merchants had carved tracks across arid plains. Armies knew the main passes. Darius took those parts and made them serve one throne. He ordered clearance, linkage, surveillance, and markers. Bridges and fords were kept in use. Posts rose along the way. Each post held feed, men, and fresh mounts. The Susa to Sardis artery exceeded 2,400 kilometres, joining the royal heart of Elam to the Aegean frontier. It was not smooth masonry, but functional integration. Each rider exhausted one mount. At the next post, a replacement seized the dispatch. The courier could collapse. The royal order continued. Day passed into night. Rain hit the road. Snow closed a ridge. Heat rose from the plain. Still the seal moved from hand to hand. A trip that might take 3 months on foot could be cut to about 9 days by the royal relay. 9 days changed the empire. A Lydian satrap could no longer exploit delay. A clerk in Babylon could not hide a short tax list for a whole season. A frontier commander knew his plea could reach Susa before his walls fell. The road exported law and imported fear. Darius wanted both. Satraps retained provincial discretion. They levied troops, collected tax, courted local elites, and preserved order. None knew who else reported to the king. A royal spy, a clerk, a rival, or a post chief could send word east. The road accelerated the king's eyes. One sealed dispatch could end a career. Darius once sent a stream of royal orders to the guards of Oroetes, the satrap at Sardis. As each order was read, the guards obeyed. In the last, the king told them to kill their own master. The blade fell far from Susa, but the hand on it was royal. The same artery carried tax lists, court intelligence, military orders, grants, petitions, and commercial reports. Aramaic helped clerks in far lands share one form of state speech. Seals proved who had sent a note. Clay and parchment preserved words no courier dared alter. At Behistun, Darius carved his rise into a cliff. He named the men who rose against him and showed them bound beneath his rule. Copies of that tale went out on clay and on skin. He did not just crush revolt. He sent his version of the truth down the road. Then he turned to cash. Imperial territories had long delivered gifts, goods, and tribute. Darius made the demands more fixed. Fields were measured. Crops were known. Provinces were set sums based on land and yield. Silver, grain, stock, and goods moved toward the court under a tighter plan. The road made every demand inescapable. A tax order left Susa, a reply returned, and a royal inspector rode out to audit the books. Any satrapial lie now entered a race. most lies lost. Near the Halys River, a scribe opened a waxed case and checked silver arrears. In a yard behind him, mules carried cloth and wine. A line of troops waited for bread. A merchant held a gold daric stamped with the royal archer. Tax, trade and war met at the same gate. Near Persepolis, the empire kept an even colder record. Travelers carried sealed permits that fixed their food rations. Storekeepers issued flour, wine, grain, or feed, then pressed their own seals into clay and sent the receipt back. A rider on royal business did not depend on chance or charity. His meals, mount and route were already written into the state accounts. The road was fed by an archive. Gold darics and silver sigloi gave the king another instrument. The royal archer stamped sovereignty into each hand. The metal could cross a place where names, tongues, and gods changed. Men tested its weight and passed it onward. Coin and road moved as one. The road brought tax in. The coin sent payout. The post sent news both ways. A trader moved Sardian wool, western wine, metalwork, or rare goods from beyond the empire. He still feared thieves, dry wells, lost beasts, and war. Yet a known route, with posts, guards, and towns, reduced that risk. A road with a name is worth more than a path with none. At each stop, men learned which pass was open, where troops marched, which town held grain, and where tolls had risen. A lender judged the venture, a trader timed departure, and a clerk sent food before hunger became revolt. Time began to move like coin. Darius could redirect capital toward the point of need. He could send gold to hire men, grain to feed them, and orders to bind them. A weak province could be watched, a proud satrap boxed in, and a border force warned before its enemy forged an alliance. The fastest thing in the empire was not a spear, it was a fact. One western dispatch could redirect eastern wealth. Palace stone could wait. Silver went to cavalry pay, grain to forts, and men from one province to another. The king no longer guessed in darkness. The road fed him choices. Each choice gave him leverage. But the road consumed wealth. Horses needed feed, posts needed roofs, guards needed pay, bridges failed, floods erased tracks, clerks stole, and local lords pursued private gain. Darius kept paying because the road kept the realm within reach. An unaudited tax is a wish. A late order is merely news. An army without grain is an armed crowd. The road made the tax real, the order sharp, and the army useful. Sardis became the great door in the west. Beyond it lay the Greek cities and the Aegean Sea. Through it came troops, coin, dispatches, and plans. When war approached, the royal road drove Asia's weight toward the coast. The Greeks saw more than troops. They saw a state that could move. Yet the same road held a threat that Darius could not kill. A road has no true lord. It serves the man who holds its posts. Long after Darius died, Alexander came east. He used routes the Persian kings had kept strong. Links that once tightened the empire could guide an enemy into its heart. The blade turned in the hand. Still, Darius had no safe choice. Without fast roads, the realm would fragment into rich provinces, ruled by men who no longer feared Susa. With roads, the king could reach, tax, watch, and strike them. At dusk, a rider reaches a mountain post. Dust cakes his face. A stable boy sees the royal seal and runs. A groom leads out a fresh mount. The note passes on before the first beast has stopped shaking. No crowd cheers, no priest speaks. The gate opens and the empire moves. Behind that small act stand the satraps, the taxmen, the royal spies, the grain stores, the gold coins, and the troops. All depend on one ruthless royal decision. No mile would be left free to become delay. Darius did not beat the land. He put the land on a clock. Each post cut time, accelerating tax, pay, trade, and force. The crown now arrived before the king. The royal road wore no jewels. It sat on no throne. Yet it carried the will of the throne across a world that might have torn itself apart without it. Thank you for watching. If you value sharp tales of monopoly, leverage, capital, and power, like this video and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. So here is the question. Did Darius build the royal road to bind his empire, or to make sure no rich and proud province could ever outrun his control?